Continuing on with Chapter 1, going on to page 11. There's nothing here that you really need to sticky note. Just understand that environmental science is made up of all different kinds of disciplines. Let's go on to page 14. Make sure you know these terms: scientific method, independent versus dependent variable, quantitative versus qualitative, repeatability, and control. So when you study this page for your test, make sure you know all of these terms that you have learned before in other classes. Going on to page 16, make sure you know what a manipulative versus a natural experiment is. Manipulative are things like you did in chemistry class. Sometimes we do them in APES. A natural experiment is where you look at what's going on in the natural environment, and there's really good pictures and a caption here to explain those for you. Peer review is also very important to make sure that your research is valid, and when you are reading research, make sure that it does come from a peer-reviewed journal, not just somebody's opinion. All right, next page. On page 18, I just have a reminder here that when you see a scientific article, try to find out where the funding is coming from. And I have this little note for myself, but a few years ago, there was a study that came out, and all the news channels picked it up, that plastic bags versus reusable bags. So everyone's going to reusable bags at the grocery store, which is great. It saves resources, lots of things. Well, this big article came out in the news that the reusable bags had bacteria all over the bottom from all the remnants of the things that you bought. Well, I went to a couple of news websites, ABC News or CNN, and what a lot of people neglected to realize was that the study on the bacteria was done by the American Chemical Council, which supports plastic bags. That's who funds their studies. So the study was paid for by the plastic bag people. And that's a huge thing to keep in mind. When you see a scientific article, figure out where the funding is coming from and see if it has some sort of bias. The article also went on to talk about that none of the bacteria was harmful. There were no pathogens in there. We have bacteria all around us, if you remember back from biology, and 99% of it is harmless bacteria. About 1% of it is harmful, a pathogen that can make you sick. And so this article didn't talk about that fact either, because they're trying to persuade people not to use reusable bags, but to keep on using plastic bags so they can keep making money. All right, the U.S. population clock. The U.S. has about 314 million, and the world about 7 billion people in it. I think this number is a little bit higher. This is last year's number, and I will look it up and renew that. Or you can actually just Google U.S. population clock, and you can see exactly what it is. I think it's about 320-something million at this point in time. That's page 19. Going on to page, let's see, 22. And this will be the last page of Chapter 1. Make sure you understand the word sustainability. Leaving our world in a better or as good a place as we found it. Making sure that when we use resources, we're using them sustainability, so we don't leave our world worse for our children. And that's really what our class is about. We learn all kinds of problems, and we learn all kinds of solutions for sustainability. And that's the end of Chapter 1.